I know a lot of people that have a problem with constant negative thoughts, and uh, you might call this depression. I'm not here to diagnose anything. I'm just here to look at how you can fix some of these things by yourself. I'm not a professional or anything, but I have a lot of experience with this, both my own experience and just hearing out friends and clients and things like that. But when I was younger, I used to just, I woke up and the first thing I thought was, fuck this. And after that, I'd get on I'd get to wherever I was going, whether it be school or work, and I just think, fuck him, fuck her, I hate these people. Um, Sometimes I'd make a mistake and I'd say I hate myself, or just, sometimes it wasn't that serious. It was more um, just like, oh, why is everything so hard, right? I would say things like that to myself. And at some point, that internal dialogue calmed down, and for a while, it disappeared entirely. Um, and now it basically only comes up when I'm really thinking about something intensely. But it, it, I tried a lot of things out, and I think the thing that worked the most for me. Well, first, let me get to what didn't work. So, affirmations. I tried affirmations, and I tried being positive all the time. And some people might not know what I'm talking about, but I know a lot of people do. When you constantly tell yourself, I'm happy, I'm wonderful, it pisses you off. It's like, what? There's so much cognitive dissonance in that it often causes more problems than it solves, I think. And so, if you're sitting there and you're saying, like, life is good, everything's great, but inside you feel unhappy, that's not going to help. I mean, to some extent, there might be positive effects to it, but um, it could also just make things worse, or it could lead you down like a kind of a path where you think that you've tried everything and nothing works, and you can end up blaming yourself even more and not forgiving yourself for um, something that just might not work for you. And so, what worked a lot better for me was trying to change what I was thinking slightly. So, not even change the thought, not even change the sentiment, just try to make it a little bit less awful. So, instead of saying, I hate this guy, I would say, this guy's a little difficult. This guy's a pain in the ass, right? Instead of saying this guy's a pain in the ass. So, at first, you try and get off that really negative, really kind of awful assessment of things. You get to a, negative, very slightly negative assessment. You get to, this guy's difficult, right? And then once this guy's difficult becomes normal, you can start to try and change that to, I'd rather not meet this guy. Or you can, and once you get to that, it's like, meh. You just think, meh, meh, whatever, right? Whatever is a good place to be because you can go wherever you want from there. Uh, you can go to, okay. And once you're at okay, you can start to look at the positives in this person. And you don't have to do this, but it's for you, it's not for them. So if you can feel positive about another person that you used to feel negative about, it doesn't hurt you at all. There's no negative to that. It doesn't mean you have to encourage behavior that you disagree with or anything like that. It just means that you're not letting them bring you down every day, and you're not kind of perpetuating this negative cycle, this downward spiral where you just keep thinking negative thoughts and the thoughts just get worse and worse. It's a way to stop that. Because we're always going to run into people we don't like. We're always going to deal with things that we don't like. And that stuff never goes away entirely. And so the better we can handle it, the better we can not be affected by it, the happier we end up being, right? And what are some other thoughts? Let me try and give some more examples. Like I used to go to like a shopping mall, let's say, and I'm not a big consumer. I'm not into trends, And I like local shops, and sometimes I see these local shops getting torn down. And so I'd walk through like a shopping area, I just think like, oh, all these local shops are disappearing because of this, because everybody lines up for some trendy um, sweets or some trendy clothes or something like that. And I would just look at the connection, and the connection is important to see, I think. But like, I don't have to dwell on that, you know. It doesn't really. There's nothing I can do about it in that moment. So the best thing that I can do is just try to find a way to not let it affect me, and if I can, be positive about it, right? So at first I was thinking things like, I hate these shops, I want them all to burn down. And then I got to a place of, uh, bah, right, whatever, screw these places, but whatever, I'm not going to let it ruin my day. And later on I got to a point of, you know, it's okay if some people like these places, it's just we should probably, you know, do better to encourage people to shop at local shops to prevent them from disappearing, right? And now it's at a point of like, things kind of sway back and forth. So even when I see something bad happening, something that I consider bad, something that I disapprove of, I realize that when it sways that way too far, it could sway back the other way. And so I do realize that there are situations where this could be denial, and I try to account for that. But the point here is to be positive. It's not to. You can be positive about these things without being in denial. So when I see like a local shop close now, I think back to some situations where I've seen a local shop close, and then because it wasn't there, people wanted something. They wanted something like that, and they created something better. And I know it doesn't always work out that way, but it can. And if I'm positive, I can contribute to that. I can add something to that and make it more likely to happen. If I'm negative, I just scare people away. I can't bring anyone onto that cause, right? And how do you say? Another thing about it is it's okay to feel like shit. I think a lot of people think that the way towards happiness is by rejecting all their unhappiness. I don't think it works that way. I think we have to accept the fact that we're not happy, acknowledge the fact that we're not happy, feel that unhappiness, and say, okay, enough of this shit, right? Um, to and that doesn't happen immediately. I think it's a slow process. So, you know, for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or even 2 months, you might just, you know, you might have to work towards just ending the really negative stuff that you say. Like, in some situations, it might be really kind of even violent thoughts, or like things that you would never do, but you just think of because something makes you so angry. I know there are probably a lot of people like that out there. Uh, and you see overly aggressive people in society, I think a lot of them are like that. And then there's people that blame themselves, right? And I think what they want to do is stop blaming themselves for everything, right? To just accept that things are the way they are, and not feel like it's all their fault, or that it's, you know, they should have done something differently. It's like, the past is the past, let it go. And so I think the last thing I should say is the best way to do this is when you're having online conversations with text, because you can backspace. So when you're talking to someone, it's easy to forget. It's difficult to monitor all your thoughts and to constantly try and edit them. You can do it when you're thinking to yourself, but I think the best way is when you're talking to someone, because you can go back and look at how negative am I, how positive am I, right? And you say, like, for example, like, oh, this heat is awful, right? This may sound like a small thing, but just getting used to using this word awful, it can pop up in other parts of your life where you look at things more negatively because you're more prone to use this word to describe things. And so I would constantly, like, whenever I was talking to someone online, I would go back and check to see, like, how could I have said this differently without changing the sentiment? Because if you change it too much, if you feel you can't stand someone, and you start saying, I love this person's great, oh, like, let me find the positives in this person right away, directly from hating them, it's fake as hell, right? Your subconscious understands that something is not right there. And it's not really going to lead to results, I think. It can for some people, but I think for people that think a lot, for people that are stuck in a downward spiral, it doesn't work, I think. And so I think that, you know, when you type things, as you're typing, think like, is there a better way I can say this? Um, it's kind of like brainwashing yourself, right? But it's not a bad thing to brainwash yourself to feel better, right? You don't have to change your beliefs. You don't have to change how you feel about certain things. If you don't like something, you don't have to start liking it. You just have to stop letting it make you feel like shit, right? And I think that's the goal. So hopefully that can help someone out there. It helped me a whole lot. And I know a friend or two who I think could use this right now. So see you next time.